Really, the goal of this program is to help defray the cost of making these energy-saving investments, because what a variable speed drive does is it helps you get energy savings by only providing the energy that you need for a given application, rather than having a static pump that provides the same amount of power regardless of the flow rate attached to it. A variable speed pump would be able to dial into the exact kind of energy output you can get, so you can save energy, you can save money by doing that, and it helps us achieve a lot of our energy efficiency goals that way.
Hello and welcome to the Pumps and Systems podcast. I am your host, Tom Baer, a managing editor with Pumps and Systems magazine. Today, we're going to be speaking with Sam Goodman from the Department of Energy's Office of Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains and Pete Gaydon from the Hydraulic Institute. They're going to be talking to us about the Extended Product Systems Rebate Program the Department of Energy is currently running, which is a program that grants rebates for the installation of more energy-efficient pumps. So without any further ado, let's get into the episode. Why don't we start with a little introduction? So if you don't mind, just telling us who you are and what you're doing here, anything that you think our listeners and viewers might benefit from knowing.
I'll kick it off. My name is Sam Goodman. I'm a program manager here in the Department of Energy's Office of Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains. We have a lot going on. Happy to talk about it here today.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Peter Gaydon. I'm the Deputy Executive Director with the Hydraulic Institute. And for anyone that's not familiar with the Hydraulic Institute, we're a trade association of pump manufacturers. So we have a long history of advocating for the industry, and a lot of that's been around standards and training. But over the last 20 years or so, there's been a big focus on energy efficiency. So we've got some good alignment with the Department of Energy.
Okay, so let's move into some of our questions that we have for you today. Starting with you, Sam. So you have a lovely MESC behind you, and that, if I am correct, stands for Manufacturing and Energy Supply Chains. Is that right?
That's right.
So would you tell us about, and do you pronounce it like MESC or do you say MESC?
Our preferred pronunciation is MESC.
MESC,
it's a little
okay.
tighter, cleaner.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so tell us a little bit about MESC. What is it? What do you do there? Anything that you'd like to share?
Happy to. This is actually a really exciting time to be at the department because we are building a lot of new things. So the department historically has had major equities in research and development. We've had interactions with the National Nuclear security side of things through our NNSA. And MESC is part of a new part of the department, really just stood up in the last couple of years. It's part of the Undersecretary for Infrastructure. And we really came about to execute a lot of this money to build American infrastructure, American supply chains, really bolster our industrial base for a lot of critical industries here as part of that mission, executing bipartisan infrastructure law and Inflation Reduction Act funding. Our mission throughout our entire vertical is really to bridge some of that gap. So if you're familiar with commercialization, you do research and development in the lab, but then there's always this valley of death before you can get it onto the market. So a lot of MESC offices are aimed at bridging that valley of death. We have our colleagues over in OSED, the Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations. They take some of that research, put it on a pilot scale, demonstration level facilities. Then MESC comes in. We're really focused on commercialization, scaling up those proven technologies to really secure gaps in our supply chains, to bring some of that critical manufacturing onshore, maybe things that have left to other countries in the past, to bring those vulnerabilities down by bringing manufacturing and jobs back to the United States. And then we have colleagues in our office like LPO, which does really big projects, billion-dollar scale, more traditional financing options with loans. We have a range of programs going on. We have facility decarbonization activities, investments in workforce, building out our battery capacities, rare earths manufacturing has been in the news a lot lately. We also have the Defense Production Act Authority. It's the first for the Department of Energy. We're making tremendous investments in heat pumps, so getting those energy efficiency equipment out and at scale. We're also doing a conversion grant program to help manufacturers who make parts, components, assemblies for internal combustion engine vehicles, help them transition to the electrified vehicle supply chain, and the rebates that we're going to be talking about here today.
So you're doing a few things over there, basically.
We keep busy.
Okay. All right. Well, then let's shift things over to Pete. So can you tell us a little about the Hydraulic Institute and how you guys are involved in all this?
Sure. So, our mission, aligns very, very well with what the Department of Energy and the MESC office is doing, related to advancing the pump industry. And one bullet point of our mission, is really related to a sustainable future for the pump industry. And so we have a lot of focus on collaborating with government organizations and other like-minded organizations to provide resources, train, and inform people about how they can improve their systems and save energy. But we've been collaborating with different departments within the Department of Energy for about 20 years or so. And it initially started with how do we have a kind of public relations campaign and resources around communicating that pump systems matter, and there's resources out there for industrial facilities to kind of look at their systems and improve the energy efficiency of those systems. So that really partially informed the creation of our foundation, Pump Systems Matter, which is really dedicated to that. So that's another nonprofit organization, a subsidiary of the Hydraulic Institute, that focuses on that. And we also more recently have been involved with the Department of Energy related to regulations on clean water pumps specifically. Like most products, the Department of Energy likes to regulate those to improve the baseline efficiency, where they'll come up with a test procedure and a metric to make it so that certain less efficient products can't be sold anymore. You may be more familiar with that, with like appliances and such that have Federal Trade Commission labels on it for the energy guide. Well, now they're doing that with pumps, even though they're not necessarily consumer products. They're more commercial industrial space. So we worked with them on that. And that's really resulted in some certification and product labeling programs that we've furthered kind of on a voluntary basis. So, we're intertwined with the work of the department, in several areas and certainly aligned.
So today we're going to be talking specifically about the rebate program. Would you tell us a little bit about that rebate program, what it is, why it's important?
The official name of the program is the Extended Product Systems Rebate Program. Basically, what that means is that we're providing rebates for variable speed motor systems and drives. The goal of this program is to help defray the cost of making these energy saving investments, because what a variable speed drive does is it helps you get energy savings by only providing the energy that you need for a given application, rather than having a static pump that provides the same amount of power regardless of the flow rate attached to it. A variable speed pump would be able to dial into the exact kind of energy output you can get, so you can save energy, you can save money by doing that, and it helps us achieve a lot of our energy efficiency goals that way. The way the program works, it covers both new equipment, so you get a new pump out of the box, or let's say you have an existing system that has a static motor in it. You can do a refurbishment or redesign to swap that out for a new variable speed drive, and we'll also rebate it in that situation. So at a high level, that's what we're doing. We're providing rebates for these systems to try to build up and encourage these energy savings across the manufacturing sector.
And so what is the amount of total funding available, and how much of it is still available?
Congress appropriated us $10 million in total. We still have just over $7 million left. So we launched this program several months ago, but there's still plenty of headroom for people to make use of it. So strongly encourage all the listeners who may qualify for this program. There is still time. Please make use of this program. We are eager to accept your applications.
And is this like a one-time thing, or is this going to be a yearly situation, or how is that going to work?
We have authorization for the program until we expend funds, and then it is a congressional decision whether they appropriate more money to it.
All right. And who is eligible to apply, and what are kind of the general qualifications?
In short, pretty much everybody is eligible to apply for this program. It's available to the private sector, whether you're a manufacturer, you have a large HVAC system, you own a commercial building, even an apartment building or a multi-residential building. All of that is eligible. It's also open to public sector entities. So let's say you're a municipal utility, you have a water system that has pumps, any kind of entity like that is eligible for the program as well. So we're really trying to cast a wide net here in who we're trying to reach. The main caveat, it has to be installed in the United States. And it's not just pumps. I do want to highlight, I know we're here on the Pumps and Systems podcast, but it also does cover things like fans, air compressors as well. So if you have those other systems as part of your ecosystem, you're eligible to apply for those as well. And I do want to note that accessing our rebate portal, we've tried to make it as easy as possible. We know in this industry, you often have an energy service company who may help you with certain things. So you're able to invite a third party to help with put together your application to make use of this funds. We've tried to make this as flexible as possible.
And so you said if they have different things like fans, et cetera, they can apply for those as well. So you don't have to only apply for one thing, essentially?
Absolutely. You can apply for as many pieces of equipment as you qualify for.
And so bringing it back to pumps, since this is, as you said, the Pumps and Systems podcast, what are the pump requirements for this program?
There are some high-level requirements that apply to any system covered by our program. Number one, it has to be greater than 1 horsepower. So we're not rebating small systems. We're looking at, reasonably sized things and above. It has to have that variable speed drive to it, and it has to have an automatic control system, and it has to work on some kind of process variable such as flow rate, temperature, something like that will automatically control the drive for you so you can get those energy savings. The other main consideration is that we have a specific installation window, roughly January 1st, 2001 until September 31st, 2023. At this point, that window is backwards looking. Want to acknowledge that right out the gate. That comes to us from the statute. We were given a specific window to rebate installations in. But if you've been making those investments over the last couple of years, this is a great opportunity to get some of that CapEx back a little earlier than you might expect. For pumps specifically, we have a couple different requirements. We have some operating requirements. It has to operate at about 75% of max flow rate, about 75% of the time. That just ensures you're in the optimal energy efficiency window. If you're doing a retrofit system, so you're swapping out that static pump for a variable speed system, you just need to disable the old control systems because we want it working on that automatic control. For a new system, it does have to meet some energy efficiency requirements. That's defined as the Pump Energy Index. This is all documented in our guidance, which is available on our portal, on our website, so more details there. But in brief, basically, it breaks it down by type of pump and the operating speed. And generally, you need something that falls in the energy index ranging from 0.43 to 0.53. So, for example, a variable speed a variable load inline pump operating at about 1800 RPM needs to have a pump energy index of 0.46 at least. And again, all of those specifics are in our guidance, and we're happy to answer any questions. It gets a little technical at points, so we want to be able to help people out.
So let's shift back over to Pete for a second. And so can you tell us about the Pump Energy Index and energy rating and how that relates to the program?
So as Sam had mentioned, for new systems, there's certain requirements for the efficiency of those. And that relates to regulations that the Department of Energy has in place for certain clean water pumps. So the Pump Energy Index, or has, all the folks in our industry refer to it as the PEI, that's DOE's regulatory value. So with the PEI, lower is better. So 1.0 or less, that's what the product has to have just to be able to be legally sold. Okay. And so this program is for pump motor drive, VFD. Generally, those get what are called a PEI-VL, so a variable load pump energy index. And the way that that's calculated, essentially, it's a ratio of two powers, where the power that's consumed is on top and the standard power is on bottom, and you divide those. So what that tells you is in Sam's example of like the 0.46, that variable load product will consume about half of the power that a minimally compliant constant speed pump would consume. So you can see the potential energy savings there. Then also noted in the program is the energy rating. So the Hydraulic Institute was involved in negotiating the regulations for clean water pumps and developing the pump energy index with the department. And there was a grace period before those regulations went into place. So we worked with energy advocates and developed what was called the HI energy rating. And essentially, the HI energy rating is designed to go onto a label to communicate the power savings. So it works along with the pump energy index. So essentially, it communicates the percent power savings over a minimally compliant product. And the program put out by MESC acknowledges the pump energy index and the HI energy rating equivalency that would qualify for the program.
So could you tell us a bit more about the industry volunteer labeling program and database of pumps?
The HI energy rating, again, built off of the pump energy index, it was really designed to be a label and communicate the potential power and energy savings. Okay. And it was also designed to be the basis of a public database. Now, the energy rating program and the database behind it requires that manufacturers test their equipment per the appropriate test procedures in a third-party certified lab, which we have a separate auditor. So it's a certification program for the rating of that pump. Okay, and the point of that was not just the label, but the database behind it, so that other utilities, so electric utilities that collect fractions of a penny off of your utility bill, they have funds that they need to incentivize energy efficiency and buy down demand and energy consumption. So provide that database of validated products to those utilities so they could build incentive programs. Very similar to what the Department of Energy has done here, there are other utilities out there offering incentive programs based on the pump energy index and the HI energy rating. All of California has programs, the Pacific Northwest, Minnesota, Colorado. So all around the United States, our goal is that all of the utilities in all of the states will be incentivizing the purchase of energy efficient pumps. And we've actually created a specific page on our website at pumps.org where we're listing all the active programs we know about and information and the sheets so that people can go to those utilities and get incentives for the purchase of those energy efficient pumps.
So it seems like a very wide reaching, it's not just in one sector. We're trying to spread energy efficiency all over.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the exciting thing about the Department of Energy's program is really it's everywhere. So that's the first one that applies, nationally in the United States. All the others are, you got to find the local utility and they have their own regulatory requirements they need to meet. So it's working with 50 different or more, many more than 50 actually, but 50 different states, and the utilities in those states to set up these programs and meet their regulatory requirements to hand out incentives, because then they're audited on that. It's got to meet certain requirements. So yeah, it can be complex.
Well, let's get back to Sam then and talk a little more about the rebates. So, can you tell us about how they are calculated and how much someone can receive?
You can expect your rebate to increase based on the size of the system that you're working with. The way it's calculated is you take the nameplate rated horsepowers of the motor and the drive and multiply that sum by $25. So if you have a 50 horsepower motor, you get 50 times essentially $50, and that'll tell you your ultimate rebate amount. So it really scales up to the size of the system. There is, however, an annual cap, so each eligible entity can only receive up to $25,000 per calendar year across all those individual rebates. So you can sum together all your eligible pumps, fans, and air compressors until you hit that $25,000 limit. However, we still encourage everyone to apply for as many as they qualify for, even if they exceed that, because that amount of money will roll over to the next calendar year. So let's say you get it in before the end of the year. It's December. You have $50,000 worth of eligible rebates. You put that in, you get $25,000 now in December. It rolls over January 1st, provided we have enough funds and you're next in line, you get the next $25,000. So we encourage everybody to apply for as many as they qualify for.
And speaking of applying, so what are the requirements to apply and what is the deadline?
Well, I can get the first question there. The deadline, we have no specific deadline. It is on a rolling basis, first come, first serve, until we run out of funds. In terms of what they'll need to apply, first things first, there's a two-step application process. First, you have to register through our portal system, and we just need some basic information. Who's applying, who's the point of contact, a W-9 form so that we can ensure that it's a legitimate entity. Nobody's trying to commit any fraud for our program. Once you get approved, we'll need some basic information about the system. We'll need to know how it's controlled, how it normally operates, the model number, manufacturer, horsepower, the zip code where it's installed, basic things like that. We'll also need information about the efficiency, making sure they're hitting those PEI targets for new systems. We'll need to know the date of installation, make sure it falls within our window. We'll need some documentation, some purchase orders, just demonstrating that you took possession of the equipment, invoices, things that we can use to verify the installation date, picture or diagram of the nameplate, just so we can verify all the specifics about the system. And from there, that's kind of all we need. We just need to verify that it meets the requirements of the program. And we have made it so that if you have multiple pumps of all the same kind of system, let's say you're doing a big capacity expansion, you just have multiples installed, you can consolidate multiple of the same model within the same application, just to save you a little bit of time. You don't have to upload a bunch of duplicate documentation.
All right. So then if somebody is interested in getting more information about this program, where should they go? What should they do?
We have our DOE website, which is energy.gov/MESC/extended-product-system-rebates. Or you can navigate there from our energy.gov/MESC homepage. That's where you'll find program information, links to our portal, the guidance document I mentioned earlier. A direct link to the portal would be DOE Rebates, DOERebates.my.site.com/rebates. It's built on a Salesforce platform. You may be, your listeners may be familiar with that. And our portal was built by a contractor, ICF. So don't be afraid that our portal doesn't have a .gov email address. It's not a phishing attempt. It's a legitimate portal where we're trying to access the system. And questions, please feel free to reach out to doerebates@icf.com. We have great customer service. We're happy to engage, answer questions, help people with their applications, and the team is really great. They usually get back within the same business day for helping people access these funds.
All right. So before we wrap things up, do you have any closing remarks or anything you think our listeners and viewers should know before we close out this episode?
There are so many different companies, organizations, utilities, public and private, who can make use of this rebate program. And we're really trying to benefit as many of them as possible across the country. So we strongly encourage you, please reach out with questions. We want to help. If you're eligible, you have qualifying equipment, we want to help you get access to this program. And again, it's a first come, first serve on a rolling basis until the funds are expended. So we encourage you, the sooner the better.
All the discussion about the incentive programs are great, and providing a little bit of a spark to improve the efficiency of their pumping systems. But I would also kind of say that I'd encourage facility owners to be proactive. Get an inventory. Say you're not ready to replace your equipment yet. Make sure you get an inventory. Try to get a checklist of is it operating well or not. So you can plan for the future. And we've got some additional resources for water pumps that if you get that inventory list together, you could go download our pump savings calculator. If you go to pumps.org and in the search bar just put pump savings calculator, it's a free download. And it's based off the pump energy index and the HI energy rating, which we referenced here. And it's just a quick and easy way for owners of water pumps to determine, hey, is there an opportunity for energy savings? So you can get a list, you can plan, and if you're not sure how pump systems operate or work and you want to learn a little bit more about those, we've got a lot of resources at training.pumps.org. We have a lot of free resources there on energy efficiency and pump systems where folks can learn a little bit, get informed. So I'd encourage everyone that's looking to save energy on pump systems to take a look at some of those resources and make a plan for the future.
All right. Well, thank you again so much for taking the time to speak with us today. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a great holiday, since we're coming up on holidays here when we're recording.
Well, thank you for hosting us, and same to you. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Have a good weekend and holiday.
Huge thanks to Sam Goodman and Pete Gaydon for taking the time to talk to us today about the Department of Energy's Pumps Rebate Program. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Also, if you're listening to this podcast and would like to watch it instead, head over to the Pumps and Systems YouTube page at youtube.com/@pumpsandsystemsmag. That's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for listening or watching, and we will see you next time.